What's going on, guys? It's Justin Jackson here once again. UNC versus Kansas. Two blue bloods going up against each other. Unfortunately, one where Kansas has come out on top the last five meetings that they've had, um, but very exciting. Um, Going into this game, I think there's five keys that will decide which way this game goes. The first one is a couple matchups that I find really intriguing. Um, the first matchup is between the two main bigs of both teams, Henry Vasar versus Flory Badunga. Now, obviously, throughout the game, they might not be matched up against each other every single time down the floor. But when I see who comes out on top between these two guys, who has a more successful night, who brings more to the team and does their job more efficiently and more successfully, I think this is kind of a matchup to watch out for. Obviously, we've seen Henry in his addition coming over from Arizona, and his size and his length is obviously a massive improvement to this front line of this North Carolina team. And then on the other side, you've got Flory Badunga, who is a pogo stick, a guy that can roll. He was third in the Big 12 last year in blocks, averaging almost 2 blocks a game. So somebody who's athletic, rim roller, puts pressure on the rim, whether from lobs or drop offs, whatever it might be. And then Henry, somebody on the other side who's more of a touch player, somebody that can play in the short roll, pocket, seal, take up space. So I'm really interested to see how that matchup comes out as the game kind of gets going and gets into the flow of it. The second matchup is Darren Peterson, the arguably top three NBA draft pick, top three coming out of high school and basically every ranking um, sources that are out there. Somebody that's already proven against a very good Louisville team in exhibition that he can really fill it up when it comes to the stat sheet. Somebody that's going to be tough to defend at times. He's going to hit tough shots and things like that. But whoever matches up with him, whether it's Seth, Caleb Wilson at times, Jaron Stevenson, Jonathan Powell, whoever it is that has the task of trying to slow him down, how good of a job can they do in making everything difficult for him? Um, Kansas uses him a ton in actions, off ball, on ball, him being the ball handler and pick and rolls. Almost all of their offense is predicated around trying to have him involved in some way. And so whether it's Seth to start out with that's able to get up into him and kind of make it difficult whenever he's handling the ball and in those pick and roll situations, or it's a guy like Jaron Stevenson who has length and is taller and maybe able to close up space when it comes to making all of his shots more difficult. Whoever it might be, how well can they do in making everything difficult to try to wear him down by the end of the game? I think that's going to be a massive key and a massive matchup, and whoever is in front of him. The number two key for me is our own freshman, Caleb Wilson. This is his first real test, his first um, game that really has something on the line, and against a very high level team. Obviously, we've seen through the first few exhibition games and the first game against Central Arkansas, his abilities are very evident, whether it's his athleticism, it's his ability to get out in transition, his versatility defensively, how hard he plays and how hard he goes to offensive glass. But can he continue that in a game of this magnitude? As a freshman, I think it's very likely that there might be times, or maybe to start the game, where his adrenaline's running, super excited, just wants to make something happen and wants to make a play. But can he harness that and not press too much throughout this game and do what he's already shown and proven that he's able to do, to play within himself, to play extremely hard, be that versatile player for this team, whether it's defensively being able to switch 1 through 4 with him being the four, whether it's him hitting the offensive glass and helping a guy like Henry rebound the ball throughout the game. And then just being the ultra aggressive athlete and player that he is, that he's shown on offense. So very interested to see how he does in this first real test that he has against a really good Kansas team. The third key takeaway for me is the pace of play. We've talked about, and multiple people have talked about how this North Carolina team really looks so good when they get out in transition. Obviously, that starts in getting a stop defensively, rebounding, and then getting out. And their versatility of having multiple guys that can get the ball off the glass and push it obviously helps in that sense. But are they able to get stops, get rebounds, force Kansas into one shot and be able to get out in transition and one allow these athletes just to get out in space and do what they do best. And two, just get easy looks. Obviously, against a really good team like Kansas, at times it's going to be difficult in the half court to score and to get really good looks. So, are they able to get out in transition, get some of those easy looks, get some of those easy finishes, have guys feel good about themselves, being able to finish at the rim and finish through contact and things like that in transition to allow the flow of the game to really get going. Kansas coming into this game, going just based off of their Louisville exhibition and their first original game against Green Bay, is averaging 17 fast break points, while UNC on the other side is averaging 22 fast break points, just based off of the BYU exhibition game for them in their first game against Central Arkansas. Um, and so, are they able to force this Kansas team into tough shots, one shot, rebound, and push it to allow that uh, aspect of the game to really get going? Number four, and it kind of goes along with the pace of play and fast break points and things like that. But can they take care of the ball better than Kansas takes care of the ball throughout this game? Coming into this game, Kansas has forced 18 turnovers against, once again, BYU and Green Bay. While on the other side, North Carolina's forced 16 themselves throughout their two bigger games that they've had, whether BYU or Central Arkansas. Are they able? Can UNC force Kansas into, whether it's trapping the ball off of pick and rolls, whether it's the full court press that we've seen them be in a good amount of to start this season? Can they force turnovers? Can they force Kansas from being able to just run their offense whenever they want, um, and allow them to get out into transition and kind of get that pace of play up? And at the same time, can they take care of the ball against a team, against a defense who switches everything, likes to get out in the passing lanes, and has obviously shown that they can force turnovers and get out and transition themselves? So taking care of the ball for me is the fourth takeaway and key for this North Carolina team to be able to have success throughout this game. And number five, I'm going to always go to the shooting aspect of this North Carolina team. Obviously, on the other side, Kansas has Darren Peterson, who's just in the Louisville exhibition game, hit 6 threes himself, um, and some other guys that have hit threes throughout the Green Bay game that they had as well. But can this North Carolina team outshoot and hit more outside shots than the Kansas team? Both teams are built pretty similar. You've got bigs inside offensively. Majority of the time, it's 4 out, 1 in, or 5 out with the big kind of in pick and roll situations to open up the floor. So can North Carolina and can these shooters that we've seen already knock down shots? Can they step into these shots in a high level game like this and knock them down? I think the more threes that North Carolina can hit, the more that it opens up the floor for guys like Caleb Wilson, for guys like Seth to be able to get downhill and to be able to make plays at the rim as well. So the shooting aspect of the game, who will hit more threes, who will hit more outside shots, is going to be massive for this team. So going into this game against a Kansas team, against a Bill Self-coached team who's had major success while being at that school, can North Carolina finally get over the hump of really coming in from the jump and taking care of business against a really good team? I think this North Carolina team has every bit of the pieces that they need to make a really, really good season out of this year. So, can they start off the season like that against Kansas, and can they get off to a really good start and build momentum going into the year?